Hello and welcome to this week's episode of your weekly Power Packed Podlets. Today's a really special episode for multiple reasons. One is the fact that I arrived in the UK a few days ago to visit my parents. I'm in the place that I spent the first 18 years of my life. And it really feels like a big full circle as I come here and I have the opportunity to reflect on how much has changed in the last 24 years. And as promised in the audio in the WhatsApp space, this episode and the next two are all interlinked with a really, really powerful message of understanding the three main aspects of the human experience that are key factors in your happiness, in your success, in your fulfillment, in your inner peace, and all of the delicious good things we get to experience in life. And being here, for me, discussing this subject is really deep. As many of you will know, when I left school at 18 and I went off to university, it was in my second year of university that it really hit deep, coming through a really dark period of depression. I wasn't aware of it at the time. I didn't realize that that wasn't normal to feel that way. I actually thought that it was just what it felt like to be me. And it wasn't until maybe a year later, I went out to Spain for part of my university degree. And I was living with a Spanish family, and they were cooking home cooked meals. There was more adventure and variety. And I started to feel differently. And it made me realize that how I'd been feeling previously didn't have to be my normal. And I had the capacity to choose to feel differently. And that was really the beginning of everything that I teach now. And so as I come to you with this message, understanding that the underlying principle behind everything that I share is a desire to see you as an individual and as a group of women making a difference in the world, to see you happy, for you to understand what happiness is and to be in your power when it comes to creating your own happiness and to sustaining that as your dominant state of being. Yes, I teach this through the lens of business and wealth and success and impact, as I've chosen a subject that, one, I'm an expert in and super passionate about, yes, and also a topic that I know is important enough to you that you will keep coming back to it again and again and again. Because it's not just the big things that get in the way of our happiness, it's the little micro moments of thoughts and beliefs that can stop us from being happy with what we already have. And so this conversation over the next 3 weeks is really about surrendering to the next layer of knowing thyself that you are ready to meet. The next layers of aha moments that you are ready to have. Because this is the thing with this work. I mean, you'll all know because you're here doing the work. We're only ready to meet the parts of selves we're ready to meet once we've gone through other layers first. Yeah, so when we're on this path of knowing ourselves, of healing, of reaching greater levels of happiness and confidence. When we've all heard the analogy of the onion, right? When we talk about the onion, it really is that there are multiple layers that are required that we acknowledge and that we meet before we're ready to go deeper. That if we go all the way to the core straight away, we won't even be capable of seeing the things that are there. We haven't had the preparation. We haven't had the self-leadership. We haven't built the confidence. We haven't built the nervous system capacity to really go to the deeper layers. And it's really beautiful once we've been on this path for a period of time. The journey shifts from solving problems and moving away from suffering and pain to acknowledging the beauty of always being the student, that there's more to learn, that there are greater layers to expand into. There's more freedom, more joy, more more impact, more connection, more love that we get to experience. So wherever you are on your path, this message will land in the way it's meant to land for you. And today's episode is, well, I'm actually going to move backwards, because in these 3 episodes, we're going to be talking about happiness and wealth and understanding it through the lens of the yogic way of understanding the human experience. So for those of you who are familiar with yoga, it's the connection of what? The body, the mind, and the soul. And we're going to work backwards and start with the soul. And then we'll go to the body. And then the last episode, we'll go to the mind. Although when we are walking on this path, it's not that we have to focus on each one in order. There'll be different moments when focusing on one or another will serve us best. And so my first question to you as you're listening to this, can you acknowledge what part of your relationship with yourself and your human experience, which part is your priority right now? Is it focusing on purpose, impact, what your mission is in this lifetime, connection with something beyond the body and the mind? Is it looking after your body, the vessel that is carrying you around, the home that you're living in this lifetime? Is it acknowledging how your thoughts are impacting your wealth and your happiness? Is it acknowledging the mind and that you are not mind? So today the conversation is about soul. And specifically, asking you the questions. Why are you here? Because, and I know this from personal experience, that we can so often get lost in focusing on what's going on right in front of us, especially if it's in a challenging experience or multiple challenging experiences happening all at the same time. And it can feel as though whatever we're going through is going to last forever. We forget about the temporary part of it. We forget about the fact that this experience is giving us the opportunity to meet the parts in ourselves that are allowing us to experience suffering. As an experience is neutral, and we as the individual, we're the one giving it the meaning, right? We're the one that gives it the meaning and therefore creates the emotional experience and the physical experience. And so many people can experience the same thing and have a different response to it. It's all about our story, our automated nervous system responses. And so a piece that I find that serves so much in the good times and the bad, in sickness and in health, is to keep coming back to what's your mission? To keep coming back to those questions. If you have a challenging experience in front of you right now, how is this experience serving for you to step into another level of safety within yourself, no matter what is going on external to you, learning what it is to feel safe within yourself at another level so that you can fill in the gap, so that you can hold space for others at another level, so that you can hold space for your loved ones at another level, so you can understand the suffering of others at another level, so that you can lead yourself in the future through things that are even harder. So what is it for you? So this is one of the things that we've been focusing on quite a bit in the school recently, and something we will always come back to, is understanding how to pose yourself the questions that give you the answers that will allow you to have the experience that serves you. I'm going to say that again in different words. In life, sometimes don't realize how easily we fall into the victim of the experience, the victim of what other people do and say, how they make us feel. We say to ourselves, oh, they made me feel this. And by posing ourselves empowering questions, grounding questions, questions of play, of curiosity, they can allow us to grow, to lead ourselves through the hard things, to choose to show up in integrity, to choose to see the love in the fear, to choose to set the healthy boundary, to choose to grow when most people would shrink. And so continually coming back to the soul journey, to the soul path. Why is this experience giving me something that I need right now? How is this experience giving me something that I need? How do I choose to respond? And what is the relationship I'm building with myself right now? And how is this leading into the bigger picture of the mission I'm here to complete in this lifetime? And maybe you're not clear on what that mission is. There is no rush to the answer of that. Sometimes it requires that we keep walking the path and doing the inner work and showing up and asking the questions to gain that clarity. So you might be asking, so how does this lead to greater happiness and greater wealth? Because you are continually creating life external to you, based on what you believe yourself to be, based on why you believe you are here, based on what you believe to be possible, and your emotional and physical responses to the things that are happening around you. And so by being able to play the role of both, how can you choose to both have the human experience, be fully in the human experience, and at the same time be the higher self, observing the human, having the experience, and lead the human side of you, going through the emotions, having the thoughts? How can you lead the human side of you in a direction that you actually consciously choose to be going? I don't know if you can hear the ice cream van is somewhere in a street around here. Maybe the microphone's not picking up on that. And how does this lead to greater happiness? As it allows you to acknowledge how you're choosing to think and act that gets in the way of your happiness, gets in the way of you believing in yourself, gets in the way in you believing in your potential and actually living up to your fullest potential. How does it lead to greater wealth? As the more safe you are within yourself, no matter what is going on external to you, the more people are drawn to working with you as you are a leader. You stand out. How many people do you know that are truly safe in themselves, that have the capacity to regulate in real time? It's a superpower. And so when you can regulate around money, around receiving and spending money, around charging money, around taking the risks that are required to take your business to another level. Because growth in your business and in your wealth will require that you take risks. You are always taking risks. You are either running the risk of not growing and staying where you are, or you're running the risk of potential failure on your journey to your next level. Let me leave you with this, and it's the following: that anybody that you see incredibly successful in what they're doing in life has failed so many times at so many things on the route and on the path to their success. And in fact, they likely, if they're happy, yeah, let me put this one in here. If they are happy, they will not be goal attached. They will not be placing their happiness in the goal. Their happiness is birthed from the path on the signposts that are the goals. Yeah, so you're going along this path and you've got signposts along the way, which are the goals, whether it's financial, whether it's growth in your business, whatever it may be. They are signposts on the path that guide you to know what direction to move in. They're not an end result. So people who are focused on the goal, let's say 10K months being the end result, may achieve success. It will be starved of happiness, as the only happiness they will experience is when they are in the goal. If they lose the goal, they lose the happiness. If the goal is no longer exciting anymore, they lose the happiness. Rather than who is it you are becoming on the path to the goal and loving that and falling in love with meeting yourself, meeting your resistance, meeting your fears, meeting your strengths, meeting your courage, meeting your resilience. That is where the joy is born. So, for those of you, you love listening into, if you're still listening to this, you're enjoying listening to these audios, yeah, these podlets. For those of you, you enjoy listening and you actually want to do the work. You want to be in the rooms like me. You're excited to learn. You're excited to expand. You love the idea of being introduced to things that challenge you and that make you grow inevitably. You are excited about being in spaces where people talk about things and make you go, oh, what? Ah, fuck, no way, every single day. That is something that lights you up. If that's the case, you already know the school is a space for you. My question is, what is getting in the way of you joining the school? Is it your story around money? Is it your story around time? Is it your story around being ready? Because the offer that we have going on right now to join us in September for 30 days, right now at pre-launch price of €111, is literally a no-brainer. €111 is a super low risk investment for you to be in a space where everybody there plays at a high level, everybody there is focusing on expansion and growth and the fun and the joy of that process, where all of the conversations expand you. Usually to get into the space, right now it's €10,000 for a year. So you're getting to come in for €111. If you wait until we've launched next week, it's still only 222. And then it goes up to 555. It is still at 555, a no-brainer price. Very low risk. You get lifetime access to the sessions that we do. You get to join us for levels 1 and 2. So that is to do the inner work of a leader, a successful businesswoman, doing all of those inner tweaks of meeting oneself, knowing what it is to lead yourself to your next level of success. And then level 2, which is all the business focused. When it comes to your model, when it comes to getting super comfortable and confident selling. Being very grounded with money and sales. Being very grounded when it comes to growth and success. So you get to experience both levels. Whether what you're interested in is the 30 days and what you get from that, or you want to be in the space because you want to join the school at some point, and this gives you an opportunity to trial it out. If maybe it's an immediate yes, I've had many of you reaching out and you're like, yes, this is for me, let's do it. Send me a message for the link to sign up. If it's a maybe and you've got questions, send me a message with your questions. If you can't get my number, because sometimes Telegram does this, pop it in the comments below this Podlet. Okay. I look forward to chatting with you. Sending you all love, and we will connect again soon.